On this week's episode, a review of The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Yes, the new Nick Cage film. Also, an interview with a local actress from the Boston region in a new Amazon Prime film, local casting calls, and why is Doctor Strange banned from Saudi Arabia? We'll get into it. For The Hub on Hollywood, I'm James. All right, guys, welcome back. As you can see, Jamie is not here with us this week, but we do have JB, who's joining us on the Hub on Hollywood. Say hello, JB. Okay, she's not enthused, and so she'll join us later for the later part of the episode. But welcome back. Yeah, Jamie is on assignment, but I'm going to try to make sure this episode is just as fun, and we will welcome her back next week. But starting the fun, we're going to be talking about The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, the new Nick Cage film that debuted on April 22nd. It's out in theaters right now. I was able to get a screen watching of it this past week, and I've been looking forward to this movie for a very long time. As soon as the trailers dropped, I thought that I needed to see this immediately, especially after my fiance and I have been binging Nicolas Cage films, going back to Leaving Las Vegas or Honeymoon in Vegas, and National Treasure. We're making our way through the list, and after this, we're going to continue our way. But this new film, we find Nicolas Cage playing Nicolas Cage in an action-packed comedy where he has to channel his iconic characters as he's stuck between a hard place, between a superfan and CIA agents. Let me just start off by saying this is an incredibly funny movie. I think you'll have a great time, and I highly recommend that you watch this in theaters. This is an original movie, And nowadays, people are complaining, all we get are Star Wars or MCU, Marvel movies, superhero movies, yada, yada, yada. This is an original one, and so with some pretty great acting and actors in it. So we have a fictionalized version of Nick Cage. In this world, he is in some serious financial troubles. He's trying to make some money. He's trying to find that perfect role so he can bounce back, even though he's never left. He also has this estranged relationship with his wife and his ex-wife and his teenage daughter. And so in order to try to squash the financial issues he's facing, he agrees to this $1 million offer to go to this party for this superfan played by Pedro Pascal in Spain. Now, Pedro Pascal, his character, he's seen as this crime lord, this drug lord running this multi-billion-dollar cartel in Spain, and he's accused of kidnapping a presidential candidate's daughter in that country in order to, play with the upcoming election, and so his cartel can gain more and more power. Nick Cage, he is intercepted by some CIA agents who give him the duties of being the spy, using his acting abilities to infiltrate the cartel while, appeasing the superfan, but also trying to get dirt, trying to find this kidnapped girl and try to bring down this drug ring. This is an incredibly funny movie. The biggest strength of this film is the relationship, the back and forth, the chemistry between Nick Cage and Pedro Pascal. I could watch 5 more movies with these two quote-unquote characters because their partnership is addicting. Every time these two are on the screen, it's amazing. I love it. The great thing about Pedro Pascal's character is, again, he's seen as this ruthless monster cartel leader. But while in front of Nick Cage, he turns into this awkward, shy, nervous superfan who is trying to impress his idol. And it starts off, pretty rough. Nick Cage, he's not super excited to be here. He's not super excited to be forced in a way to do this birthday party appearance in order to get $1 million, but he's doing it. Then he's also reluctantly working with the CIA in their efforts to try to squash this cartel. How does Nick Cage play Nick Cage? I think he plays him pretty well. Now, he was saying that he was kind of reluctant to do this movie just because he was unsure. He wasn't really comfortable with making fun of himself. He didn't want this to be like an SNL sketch and very satirical and mocking his career or his life. But the way the script is written, he's having a lot of fun with this. They do take many liberties with his character, with his quote-unquote character himself, his real life. And so I think that's what was enough to sway him. There are enough changes in this film to his own personal life that yeah, he can have fun and explore this different version of Nick Cage while also exploring the previous roles that he's done over the years. And we do see glimpses of previous movies, including Face Off. We do see a younger version of Nick Cage, who's a little more manic, who's a little more wild, kind of like the younger Nick Cage that we saw in previous years. And so that is a lot of fun. Again, Pedro Pascal, I love everything he's in. He's in The Mandalorian. He's in countless other films that are amazing, and he is amazing in this one. And one of the best scenes is between him and Nick Cage when there's this drug experimental trial that they both undergo. And I was laughing so hard. After this movie, I was, my fiance and I, we've both been binging Nick Cage movies recently, just quoting things from this film and reminiscing. So this is a non-spoiler review. If you guys want a spoiler review, we can probably do that at another time. But as for this one, I would say I highly recommend this film. I think if you're a Nick Cage fan, this does Nick Cage justice and your fandom of him. If you're a fan of Pedro Pascal, there's plenty of him in this film and plenty of other things in this to enjoy. So The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent gets 2 thumbs up from me. I recommend watching it as soon as you're finished watching this episode. Now, after you're done watching The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent and after you're done watching this episode of The Hub on Hollywood, I highly recommend you watch this other film on Amazon Prime called Salesmen. It came out. It stars this local actress from the now Boston region. She's from Brockton, but now she's living closer to the city. But I sat down with her to talk about this movie and about her career, her acting career that is, I'm sure, just starting and just heating up right now. Here with MarHadoo Effeh, who is an actress who was cast in this new Amazon Prime film called Salesmen.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining me and to talk about it.
Thank you for having me.
So you're originally from Brockton, right?
Yes, I am. Brockton, Mass.
Brockton, Mass. What got you interested in the whole Hollywood industry, the entertainment industry?
You know, it's funny. I'm actually not interested in the Hollywood industry. I think I'm just a creative, and my love for art always kind of rooted me in being creative and creating works of art that people can engage with. So I wasn't always an actor. I feel like I found acting later in my life. I was actually a dancer and a singer for a really long time, and then I think the community, the sense of community that I found in theater actually inspired me to create more performing arts pieces and do plays and films. So that's kind of how I jumped into the whole Salesman film, because I just really love the art of it, you know. Mm-hmm. But the industry is fun too, of course. The glitz and the glam. And here in New England, and especially in Massachusetts, we're seeing more and more productions of movies and TV shows. Right. Do you have your finger on the pulse here? Kind of, a little bit. I just had a baby, so I haven't really been in the audition circuit for the season. But no, I've definitely been hearing great things about the industry. Don't Look Up was filmed actually in Boston and in Brockton too, the Netflix film. So that's really cool. What on the pulse were you referencing? Well, so right now, like Zendaya, she's in town for a movie, and we do on the Hub on Hollywood, we do casting calls. So every week we list out casting calls, and for the past 2 weeks, we've been getting listings for her latest film, and people have been posting pictures, and so that's like the latest big project. Oh, okay. I saw that she was at Tate Bakery actually, but I didn't know that they were filming out here. That's so cool. Yeah, and apparently there's rumor, nothing confirmed yet, but there are rumors that another Marvel movie is going to be filmed here. Really? They did film part of Black Panther 2 in Worcester, and so we're getting some of the MCU action over here. That's cool. But Salesman is not in the MCU. No. What is the movie about? The movie is about 3 really close friends and their colleague Tookie. They are salesmen, and they kind of have a obstacle. I don't want to give too much away, but they have an obstacle, and they kind of have to do a lot of quirky things to get over this big hump. I play Nina, the love interest of one of the main characters, Corey. It was really fun shooting with him. That was a great experience altogether. But yeah, the movie is a comedy. It's very funny. From the directors and the writers and the creators, it's a love letter to Boston comedy scene, and yeah, Rob Pooley and Luke Parvis did a really great job of like bringing together all these really funny, great, inspiring artists and made a film.
And
didn't even think that it would be on Amazon Prime, but it's like a passion project that, you know, it's taken off.
So how does that work? So you get cast for a movie, and then I guess down the road, that's when they, I guess, sell them to production studios like, I guess, Amazon Prime or, for example, Netflix?
Yes. I don't know the exact like inner workings, but we created the film back in 2020, and a little bit of it wrapped in 2021, and then the post-production aspect was for, you know, through COVID and all these different variants, but it was picked up after. Like, we had no idea about the Amazon Prime thing until later down the line. It was after I had already shot like all my scenes, eight months pregnant. They were like, hey, we're gonna be on Amazon. I was like, oh, cool.
So this movie's kind of been sitting for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, it went through the like film festival circuit of 2020. I know that it was down at South by Southwest. And then, yeah, it kind of just got this buzz. Is really awesome.
And so, what are friends and family saying, thinking about this role, and you just jumping into the industry?
It's funny. Everyone's like, "Oh, congratulations!" I'm like, "Yeah, you got to rent it for $3.99." So I don't actually know how many people have like seen it, other than when I force people to sit down and watch it. But I have been sharing my Amazon Prime password if anybody wants it to see the film. But it's been a very humbling experience, because I know like a lot of friends and family have been on this like journey with me in my life for so long, and they've been to my plays and my workshops. So I think to have this transition from like, this is just a hobby that she does, you know, it's like they're finally starting to understand that there's a career, there's opportunities for everybody, you know. I think a lot of people have this misconception that being in the entertainment industry is like so competitive, but there's billions of people everywhere, and so is every other job, you know, like, so I think that's been like a nice shift to see like your artwork and your career being taken seriously by your family and friends.
Is that one thing that surprised you? Kind of like the broadcasting radio industry. It seems huge and big and massive, but it's really like a small world where everybody kind of knows everybody, or kind of like heard or worked with somebody in some way or another. Yeah,
that's definitely what it's like, because there's such a small community of actors in Boston specifically. So we're all cool. All my best friends are like actors in Boston, and it's actually very interesting too, because I got the role because of my connections, you know, not like nepotism, but, you know, somebody reached out to me because they weren't available. They were actually in California, and that's kind of just what the community does. Like, oh, I'm not available for the project, so I'm going to recommend a bunch of people to you. And, you know, I just went in and auditioned, and it was really fun. And, you know, next thing I knew, I got the part.
Any particular memories that stick out while filming?
Really good one. So there's a scene in the Boston Bowl arena, and we had to like break for something or charge, and Corey and I went and we're like, oh, let's just go inside, and we definitely took tequila shots and then went back outside and shot the rest of our scene. But it was just really funny because they were like looking for us. They had like already charged everything, they were ready to go, and we were just like getting drunk on bowling lanes. It was really funny.
That's great.
It was a good time.
And so, you know, going back to you being, you know, here locally, again, originally from Brockton High, can you touch about again how, again, the initial spark that led to you into this creative world?
I have like an inception point, because, and I said this too in the Enterprise article, that my mom really just saw something in me and my sister. We're both like very creative and artistic young women. My mom was a singer too, or is a singer. She like sings in church all the time, and I think that she saw something in me. So I was doing the singing and doing the dancing, but I don't know, I think I was looking for something that was a little bit more challenging. Now it's funny now because I can't sing now, but I think at some point in high school I wanted to be a lead in the musical, soulfully for singing. Like, I did not care for acting. I hadn't joined the drama club. I was a sophomore, and I really wanted the part. part. Like I really wanted to like act and sing, and they were like, there was like politics in high school drama club, so you have to like have seniority, you know. So everybody who's already been in drama club kind of was getting the lead roles, and seniors. I was only a sophomore, but I think that challenge to you know step outside of just I just want to be a singer, and this imaginative world of acting really gave me a sense of liberty or freedom that I just hadn't felt. I actually felt really like bogged down by singing and dancing, but with acting, like you have the script and you have the director, but at the end of the day, like the world is your oyster and you can make all of the decisions for your character, for your role. I think that was really inviting for me in high school, and then that was more so about me, but as far as like the community aspect, there's such a strong sense of kinship in theater, no matter like how long you're working on a project, that I really fell in love with, and that sense of community and like a village of artists is just fun. You know, artists are the best people. So.
Yeah, you know, I was also a journalism, in addition to journalism in high school, also the drama, theater, also some improv stuff, and so I definitely feel you. Now, looking at your IMDb, we also saw Love Undone and Gold Token.
Yes.
Tell me about those projects.
Of course. So Love Undone is also shot in Boston. It is a web series independently created by Joseph Gonsalves, and it's actually in the second season production right now. We're working on that, so link in my bio on Instagram. But that show was something that I found through Backstage, the website platform for artists and directors to connect and book work together. And that show is just about a lot of different relationships and how they intersect, and it really shows Black people specifically in a very different light romantically, and gives them more depth and dimension. I think that's something that's really important in creating roles for people of color, is to strip away the stereotypes and create dimension and like freedom for these characters, and you know, based off of very real people. My character is Lori. She is a really hardworking lawyer and a mother whose husband of 15 years, I want to say, cheats on her, but she's, you know, so invested in her job that it kind of takes a toll on her, and she has to kind of find her way back to her romance. So it's really fun shooting in Boston because you can like look back and say, hey, I know where that place is, or I know where you're going. It's fun. And with Gold Token, that was something that kind of found its way to me. That's how I view all my opportunities. Like they find me and I just like put my best foot forward in the audition. But I auditioned for a dancing part, actually. I just wanted to really be a part of something different. It's an experimental film about family ancestry and femininity within Black communities, specifically within African diaspora. And Eruekwa Dawson Amoa owns I want to call it like a network of like artists, they're directors, actors, but it's called Melicast, specifically for people of color, looking for opportunities that, you know, are created by people of color. And she reached out. I did a dance virtual audition. This was like peak COVID. And then I just like drove my beater Nissan to New Jersey one weekend, and we did a music video experimental film. And it was just really fun to work with such talented artists. A lot of them were students from NYU, so it was really just fun to have that freedom. Like there was nobody on set that could be like, hey, like I can blacklist you, like don't do this. So it was just really fun, and it's hard to explain what the project is. You kind of got to see it for yourself, but you don't have to pay for that one. So yeah, if you just search Gold Token and you'll see little snippets. I also think that I wasn't originally cast in a role, but they had just liked my audition so much, so they kind of created a space for me, which I love, because that just shows that it's less about like getting the work done and more about just like connecting with artists who like are passionate about the same things that you are. Yeah.
And you mentioned like the part of being able to film in Boston and then watching it again, like, oh, I know where this spot is. I know where this spot is. Like Free Guy was filmed in Boston in the Seaport District.
Yeah.
So when my fiance and I watched it, we were pointing out every spot that we've been.
Yeah.
Also for Don't Look Up, like we just know some of those streets.
Yeah.
And so for Salesmen, based in Boston, filmed in Boston.
Yes.
Yeah. And so do you remember which area that that you folks shot in?
All over, truthfully. Like I said, in Dorchester for Boston Bowl, I went to Chelsea for like a matinee type movie vibe, a date night that was in Chelsea. Where else did I go? Oh, we were in Somerville, actually, driving around here. There's like a car scene. Mind you, this is like B-roll, but it takes like a really long time. So a whole night, I think it was one of the first nights that we shot together. We were just like driving around Somerville and Boston trying to find like cute, pretty lights to reflect off of cars. I'm trying to think of where else. Someone's apartment, because there was like an intimate bedroom scene. That was also in Boston.
There's so many spots in Boston that are just like beautiful, and I think also the Godzilla movie was filmed in Boston. Like Fenway Park was destroyed,
really?
And so I do love that, with the state's tax credit, it incentivizes more movies and projects to be filmed over here.
I love that.
Yeah, and as I mentioned before, like casting calls up the wazoo. Like we're like every week like 10 different casting calls, and so it's very, very great to see. We're called Hollywood East for a reason.
Yeah.
And so no interest to ever go to Hollywood West.
If we keep having the winters that we're having, which hasn't been that bad, like I think the weather kind of keeps me from wanting to stay, but I do have like lots of family here. I see myself as a nomad, so I do see myself living in the West Coast at some point. But no, I think I'm glad that there's more opportunities here because it doesn't feel like a rush. Like I feel like after I graduated from college, everyone was like, okay, so what's next? Like LA or New York? And that kind of was very limiting. And like I said, I'm a nomad, so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna stay in Boston until another option comes up. Chicago is also like really cool for the theater scene, so I would love to go out there also. But no, the fact that there's so many opportunities, not just with film, but also theater and like different workshops here, is great because art is really important and sometimes it's overlooked and undervalued. If you're not a celebrity walking red carpets, you're not seen as somebody who's successful, and that's frustrating. I think that's what I'm trying to like shift. So I love that, it's not just LA or New York, it's also like Boston too. People are able to do what they love and not feel so limited in like where to do that.
When you mentioned the weather, that struck close to me because I'm actually from Los Angeles, and I moved over here 3 years ago.
Oh my goodness!
People always ask me why.
Why?
And two, what do you think about the weather? And like I realize us Californians have very thin skin when it comes to the weather, so I feel you.
Yeah.
I understand that pain. As for I guess tips or advice for other people that may want to come into the film industry, do you have any best advice?
Do it. Do it because it's all about imagination, and we all have minds and consciousness, and we're able to create these characters in our own heads. Acting and creating work of art, I think, is reflective of life, which we all walk every day. So there's a story that hasn't been told, billions of stories that haven't been told, and there's work everywhere, opportunities everywhere, and it's less about the glitz and glam and more about the community, I think. So as long as you find a tribe of people that want to work with you and are passionate about the art that you're creating, you'll find opportunities everywhere. And I'm always a big proponent of like, get out there, do something outside of a day-to-day, like 9 to 5, and just dive into your creativity, even if it's not acting, just like pour into your passions more. Yeah.
So Salesmen out on Amazon Prime right now. Anything else people should know before renting it?
I'm not sure.
Again, no spoilers. We're not trying to give away any spoilers here at all. But yeah, it's a good time.
It's a great time. It's a really funny movie. It's different, so when you're watching it, think of it as something that you can be a part of and not something to like judge or, think of as like this huge Hollywood project. I really feel like it's like an invitation to everybody to just like come in as you are, not have too many expectations, and just like enjoy like a love letter to Boston.
Excellent. Yeah. Where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram, MarHadoo Effeh, and on Facebook, MarHadoo Effeh.
MarHadoo, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Is there anything else you'd like to add that our listeners, our viewers should know?
I'm always free to work. As you can see, I live in the Boston area.
Yeah.
And I'm really interested in creating connective tissues here in Boston. So let's get this work.
Excellent. Let's do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, a big thank you to MarHadoo Effeh. Again, Salesman is now out on Amazon Prime for rent and I believe for purchase. So go ahead and check that out. Thank you so much for being on the episode. Now let's get right into the casting calls because we want to get you into some local movies and projects that are filming here in and around Massachusetts and New England. And we're going to first start with Slate Casting. Slate Casting, they're looking for tweens and teens for an upcoming commercial. This is a non-union gig. They're looking for Hispanic, African American, Asian, biracial, tweens, and teens between 11 and 15 years old. This pays $1,000 if you are cast, and this shoots in Rhode Island. And so I made a little drive, not too far, but it's just a stone's throw away. But you must be available on May 4th. No acting experience is necessary for this. So if you are interested, email slateselftape3, the number 3, at gmail.com with your name, age, contact information, a few current photos, where you live, a little bit about yourself. And, all kids and guardians on set, they must be fully vaccinated. So that is one for Slate Casting. All right, CP Casting is now looking for authentic French-speaking men between 18 and 25 years old. This is for Tire Town. This is the Zendaya movie that's filming here in Boston in the Massachusetts area. So if you are between 18 and 25 years old, this is a paid gig filming multiple days in May and in June of 2022 here in Massachusetts. So if you speak French, you should email your name, phone number, where you live right now, recent photos, your French experience. Email that to tiretowncasting@gmail.com. tiretowncasting@gmail.com. All right, Boston Casting, looking for female theater actors for a TV pilot. This is a big deal. So if you are between 38 and 52 years old, or you know anyone between 38 and 52 years old with a Boston accent and theater experience, you want to send your name, contact information, resume, bio, demo reel if you have one, where you currently live. Email all of that to Boston Casting Headshot and Resume at gmail.com. Boston Casting Headshot and Resume at gmail.com. In the subject line, you'll put female theater actor / your name. We also have a casting notice for work in Western Massachusetts for a project called Maestro. This is for Netflix. They are looking for SAG-AFTRA members. This is filming in Tanglewood. So Grant Wilfrey Casting is seeking background actors for the feature film Maestro, directed by and starring Bradley Cooper. That's pretty cool. They're looking for actors who can portray men and women between 25 and 35 years old, all ethnicities, for a 1980s party scene. Men should have full or shaggy hair, no short haircuts, no buzz cuts, no shaved beards, dreads, or edgy haircuts, no visible tattoos, no gel nails. You need to be willing to work in atmospheric and herbal cigarette smoke, so like a club scene. They're also looking for men and women between 25 and 35 years old, all ethnicities, for a 1940s party scene. So it looks like this is a multi-period piece, again, apparently starring and directed by Bradley Cooper. They're looking for, again, people who are clean-shaven, have 1940s period hair, no buzz cuts, no edgy haircuts, nothing shoulder length. So if you're willing to work, again, around cigarette smoke, this is for you. You should submit your information to Maestro at gwcnyc.com. I'll spell that out. That's MAESTRO at gwcnyc.com. So you should write SAG Tanglewood Local in the subject line of that email. Pretty big deal. Netflix film starring, directed by Bradley Cooper. You can't get better than that. And our last one, we have a casting notice for Gilded Age, The Gilded Age, Season 2 on HBO. They're looking for shoot dates between May 3rd and the 20th, with fittings happening now in April, and this is shooting in Newport, Rhode Island. So Grant Wilfrey Casting, looking for background actors. This is set in the 1880s with the series filming in Rhode Island. So if you are a Caucasian male, 5'10 to 6'2", You will likely work multiple days, but sometimes they'll be non-consecutive, so you have to have a pretty flexible schedule. Also, looking for Caucasian women between 5'3" and 5'10", also will likely work multiple days, and they may not be back to back to back. There may be some space in between, but you should submit your name, phone number, SAG-AFTRA member ID. So this is a union gig. Send all that information to Gilded Age at gwcnyc.com. A lot of great casting stuff this week. So if you meet any of those descriptions, requirements, go ahead, send your information in. If you know anyone who meets or fits those descriptions or requirements, go ahead and send that in as well. Now, before we get to our last story, again, thank you so much for watching this episode of The Hub on Hollywood. If you are watching us on YouTube, thanks. Give us a like, give us a share, subscribe, comment down below. What are your thoughts on the unbearable weight of massive talent? What are your thoughts about the local filming industry here happening in New England? Let us know. You can also follow us on the social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, now on TikTok, at Hub on Hollywood. Give us a like, give us a follow, give us some love. Also, lastly, you can listen to us. You don't have to watch us all the time. You can take us out on the road. If you're going to the gym, if you're working out, you can listen to our voices on any podcast streaming service like iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, we're streaming there. All right, and to wrap up this episode, we have this story coming from The Hollywood Reporter, an exclusive story. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness banned in Saudi Arabia. The decision apparently comes after both Eternals and West Side Story were also blocked for including LGBTQ characters. In this film, we are being introduced to the character America Chavez, who in the comics is gay, and that appears to be too much for Saudi Arabia. They have very interesting beliefs, you could say, on the LGBTQ community. They also have interesting beliefs on when it comes to human rights. So this isn't entirely a big shocking surprise. Again, they have banned other movies, including Eternals, West Side Story. And so this one, it's not coming out of the blue. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness was due to be released across the Gulf on May 5th as part of its global rollout. Now, while advanced tickets are no longer available on the websites of cinemas in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Qatar, they are in the United Arab Emirates, suggesting that it will be released there. So tell me, are you surprised by this ban? I'm not entirely surprised. I kind of saw this coming. Again, they banned both Eternals and West Side Story for the inclusion of LGBTQ characters. We've seen, some censoring of Disney films, especially Disney films, but we've seen many other movies throughout the years being censored, including in places like in China. Famously, I think it was the last Star Wars movie, The Rise of Skywalker, on the poster, they actually took Finn, I'm blanking on his name, John Boyega. They removed his image from the Star Wars poster because apparently that doesn't fly too well in China. And so it's unfortunate that we still have many countries, many places, many people in this world that are not as accepting or at the very least tolerant to different people, different cultures, different backgrounds. And so, again, not entirely surprised by this. I don't think this is going to be hurting the MCU or the Doctor Strange rollout or, the box office. Of course, the box office is going to take a bit of a hit, but I could see some people watching this movie once, twice, maybe 3 times as a protest, try to, ramp those numbers up. But let us know what you think down below. Comment down below. You can also find us on the social media at Hub on Hollywood. Let us know what you think about this ban, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness in Saudi Arabia. Also, let us know about the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent starring Nicolas Cage. Are you seeing it? Did you see it? What do you think? Why do you plan on seeing it again? Also, what's your favorite Nick Cage movie? Just throwing that out there. What do you think about The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent if you have seen it? And if you have seen it, why do you love it as much as I do? It's a really good movie. I do recommend you to go see it. And of course, a final thank you to MarHadoo Effeh for sitting down to talk to us on the Hub on Hollywood, talking about Salesmen, which is now out on Amazon Prime. But for the Hub on Hollywood, I'm James, and I'll see you next week.